Lily Phillips has been baptised. I can't believe I'm saying this, but an OnlyFans creator getting baptised has sparked one of the most insane internet debates at the moment. We need to talk about Lily Phillips, and maybe not in the way that the headlines are wanting us to, because I'll be honest, I don't think this is a story just about controversy or just about religion. I don't know if it's going to be as simple as either a redemption arc or maybe a clickbait story. This could potentially be about reinvention, identity, and how the internet reacts when someone tries to step outside of the box that they have already been placed in. I do want to say something before I go into it. I'm not bashing any OnlyFans creators. I also don't want to criticize any religion or faith or people that believe in those things. Even though I'm not religious, I do firmly believe that if someone wants to believe in their faith and that they find comfort in their faith, or however they want to explore religion, that should always be someone's right. And I would really encourage that if it helps someone. I do think this conversation deserves a little bit of nuance, so I want to go into it with a bit more of a broader thought rather than just straight to criticising Lily. So let's get into it. But before we do, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are working towards monetization on this channel and just growing this little corner of the internet. So if you enjoy, please subscribe down below and we will get into the video. So just for starters, what has happened? So Lily Phillips, a 24-year-old OnlyFans content creator who previously has gone viral for some extremely controversial sexual competitions and acts, such as the first to sleep with 100 men in a day, the backdoor challenge.
Yeah, I've done it.
Fine.
I did a 50-man orgasm recently.
No, nothing was really meant to go up your arse, is it? No, things are meant to come out of it.
I don't know.
Surely that done some internal damage. That must have hurt.
No.
And then competing with Bonnie Blue for some even bigger world records.
Also, just a reminder that my 1,113 man, that sounds insane, video will be released on Fansly. 12 hours of footage to go through, so bear with me. I have actually had some complaints about yesterday. Eek. In terms of just like the time limit. But if you're doing a big number like that, I can't be waiting for you to finish, you know? I need to go on to the next guy.
She has recently shared that she has been baptised and is reconnecting with her faith. She has spoken about growing up around religion, that she has felt herself drifting away from it and that she wants to reconnect with her religious background and to sort of re-establish that connection.
Do you believe that there's a heaven after we die?
No, not at all. I think we've already not been alive, so why do we expect an afterlife?
Do you think there's a God?
No.
No, okay.
I do believe in a higher power, but not God.
Right.
I believe it's evolution, but it's not something I personally believe in.
Okay, do you think he was real though?
No.
If God does exist and you stand before him
Yeah.
and he says, why should I let you into heaven? What would you say to him?
Well, I please all these men, and surely that gives me some good karma back.
And I think almost immediately the internet has been split into two very different groups. One side has praised it as growth, as healing, and a personal evolution for Lily Phillips. However, the other side has dismissed it as performative, as clickbait, and something strategic. And I'll be honest, I really understand the confusion, especially when we look at things like what Bonnie Blue is doing. She does do a lot for clickbait, and it's seeming a lot of people in the industry are leaning towards clickbait themes. I will say there has been some really promising comments online, bear in mind if this whole situation is true. We have comments like, well done for finding peace. Getting baptised is such a powerful step towards healing. I've never judged anyone who's done adult entertainment. I think you were searching for something and you took that search to an extreme, but ultimately it led you to Christ. Stay blessed. And then another one saying, truly beautiful if this is genuine. Do not listen to those that shame you for your past, but be open to correction. Even if you fall back into sin, remember God has not abandoned you and you can find the path back. Peace be with you. And A lot of comments are just genuinely saying, I don't understand the hate. You know, this could potentially be a really promising step forward for Lily Phillips, and there are some very harsh comments. I think, of course, on the other side, as we would expect, whether that's right or wrong, it has been met with a lot of humour and disbelief and just a lot of judgment. Some people are just saying it's too late and are making jokes relating back to the industry, like with Johnny Sins. A lot of people just aren't believing that this could be true. But I think a big thing of this is Lily Phillips isn't just a private individual changing something behind the scenes. She is a public figure whose career has been very public.
Waste of air, yourself. I think those are the real like bad ones, like when it's like getting death threats. I think those are kind of the worst ones because it's like slightly scary. Like the shaming isn't bad because it's like, oh, whatever, like call me names. But when people are like actively like, I want to kill you, that's intense.
It has been built in full view of the internet, often in extreme, very public and uncomfortable ways. Over the past year, Lily has gone viral for quite a few different things, often for content that pushed her emotional, physical, psychological limits. And I will say, importantly, after seeing some of these moments, she does seem visibly distressed.
I think sometimes like feeling so like robotic, like by the, I think like the 30th, you know, like when we're getting on a bit, I've got like a routine of like how we're gonna do this, and like it just, sometimes you'd like disassociate and be like, you know, like it's not like normal things at all.
We saw that on the documentary she filmed for the 100 Men Challenge, and she did look really broken. She's spoken about exhaustion and feeling overwhelmed and really questioning what she is doing. We even saw her break down during that really raw documentary that was posted on YouTube. So when someone like that does pivot towards faith, it does raise some real questions. Is it genuinely a turning point, or is it content? And I'll be honest, I really want to just look back at this at a moment. I don't think this is getting spoken about enough online for this situation. I don't think religion has a one-size-fits-all image. Faith doesn't exclusively belong to people who look a certain way, who live a certain lifestyle, or just those who have a clean past. And maybe you'll disagree with me or not, but I think a lot of people who claim to be pure in their religion don't always follow each part of that religion word for word. And that is okay. You will find Muslims who judge people for their inner intentions, but only which Allah can judge. Or Christians who are very harsh in their own judgment and aren't trying to correct people with love, and who aren't looking at their own selves before judging others. Only God knows the heart, so how can you judge that intention? I think it does just show no one is perfect. I don't judge someone for their religion, and I really don't think you can judge someone's commitment to their religion based on surface level actions. If Lily genuinely needs to find her connection with faith again, to find structure, grounding, or maybe just even meaning, she should be allowed that space, full stop, no questions. Growth definitely does not need permission from strangers on the internet. In fact, I do think it's probably a positive if we are seeing someone like Lily Phillips reconnecting with their faith. I think it shows that, you know, if all of this is genuine, religion doesn't just have to fit a very narrow stereotype, that you don't have to neatly fit in a box to explore your faith, and that faith can really live alongside your past mistake or complexity and contradiction. If anything, I think that's a really positive message and a very human message rather than a negative one like some people are trying to portray. But I will say where my big concern is looking at the intent behind this. Of course, when your career has been built on becoming viral and having shock value and escalation, everything does get questioned. If the baptism is genuine, if Lily is actually stepping back from OnlyFans with a career that has visibly looked like it's really badly affected her, it could be a really healthy shift. A chance for some hopefully very positive outcomes for her. But if this baptism is used as clickbait, another story, another viral arc, then the message does become very deeply troubling, because turning religion into clickbait doesn't just cheapen the faith, it risks exploiting it. It sends a message that nothing is sacred and that every belief system is just another aesthetic or just another monetizable moment. And of course, with it all on the internet, we have a lot of very young, impressionable audiences, many of whom are very confused about their own identity, maybe their sexuality, their self-worth. All of that matters. I mean, we've already seen what happens when creators really feel pressure to constantly escalate what they are doing. We have seen that a lot within the OnlyFans community. Every reinvention has to be louder, it has to be more shocking, it has to be bigger. So I don't think the question is Lily allowed to re-find her religion? I think of course she is. I think the real question is this a real moment of reflection or just another chapter in a really horrible content cycle?
For me, that isn't like my proudest moment looking back. I think when you are just like constantly evolving and learning on the job, you do make mistakes, and it's awkward for me because that mistake is like in the public eye, and I didn't realize how much effect it would have on women and like really deep down like what I was kind of putting out there. And yeah, I am like sorry and I regret doing that.
Because if it is real, I really do wish her healing and peace and obviously comfort in her faith. And I think it could serve as a really powerful example of that you are allowed to reconnect and you can step away from something that no longer serves you. But of course, if it is just performative, I think it's a horrible risk that faith is just another tool for attention amongst so many other things that are now just used for attention. And that isn't just a Lily Phillips problem, that is a wider internet problem. We are creating a culture online where authenticity is always questioned, and I really think being sincere is struggling to survive with the algorithm at the moment. I do think if we are using religion as clickbait, it is very worrying, not just in this situation, but from a cultural standpoint. Religion shouldn't just be seen as an aesthetic. It isn't a trend or a rebrand or just some sort of storyline arc. For a lot of people, especially some young people, faith is tied to identity, morality, shame, belonging, and their self-worth. And I think when religion is framed as monetizable content, I think it sends a very specific message to some very impressionable audiences. It teaches them that their belief isn't something personal or sacred, it's just something that you perform, something that you can pick up when it's useful but then drop when the engagement drops. I think for young viewers navigating their own identity, regardless of how that looks, it can be extremely destabilizing, because instead of learning that faith or meaning or belief, instead of learning that those things are done privately and with a lot of thought, they're shown as just another tool for validation online, another way to stay relevant or to control the narrative. And that line is constantly being blurred and is becoming dangerous, I would say. Everything online is monetized. Your body, your trauma, your relationship. Some people are monetizing their children. Not everything online that is monetized is healthy. I think if religion is entering that space, it could lose some of its grounding function and the real intentions behind it. Instead of reflection, it becomes performance. Instead of accountability, it's part of your branding. And the people at the other end that are absorbing this are some very young viewers. And it's teaching them that belief is valuable, but not because it can shape your values, but because it can drive clicks. And I think sadly it can cause some sort of cynicism. Young people who maybe would have wanted to explore faith or any belief system can start to see it as fake, as manipulative, or inherently disingenuous. Not because faith itself is flawed, but because the loudest examples they see are linked to engagement farming online. And that is a real loss, because I think whether someone is religious or not, belief systems historically have helped people get through some really hard times across history. For some, it really helps in processing guilt, grief, forgiveness, or just expressing their own limits. There is a lot of depth to religion, and if it's used for content, I think it just strips back the importance of it. I don't think anyone owns religion, and I think anyone is allowed to change. But I think when those deeply personal themes with religion are used for content, I don't think the people that are affected most are the creators. It's the viewers who are really still trying to figure out who they are and what they want to believe in. And I think that is a responsibility that the internet doesn't speak much about. And that's why I think when it comes to Lily, the intent behind this is really important, and it does really matter if this moment is genuine and she is stepping towards her faith again because she needs grounding or she needs healing or just a way out of a cycle that seems too heavy for her, then I think that does deserve some respect and privacy. But if it isn't and faith just becomes another engagement hook, then I think the impact goes a lot further than just her, and I think it's a very sad outcome. Young people aren't just watching her, they are learning now what belief can be framed as online, and I think that matters a lot more than just a clickbait headline of Lily Phillips is getting baptised. I think this could be a really positive turning point. I think it also could be a cautionary tale depending on the actual outcome. I do really hope it's the first. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Be respectful. I do want this to be a really nuanced conversation. As I said, I don't believe in any religion. I don't believe in any religion, and for me it isn't something that I practice. However, I am really open to the fact that for some people it is really helpful. I don't blame anyone for wanting to practice religion or faith or belief or any of those things. I just really hope that this isn't setting a bad example for those communities and that it is actually coming from a very genuine place. Please do like this video if you enjoyed this one, and of course subscribe down below. We are working towards getting monetized on this channel, just really growing this little corner of the internet. I'm on the road to 1,000 subs. I'm at 129 as of recording. It's been so great to see the growth, and it is really, really exciting. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.